Hi guys, today we're going to do a horse. Pearl Claude inspired this one. And I want you to take a quick look at his shapes because I'm going to grab my pencil. You can see that he has this rounded jawline. Sometimes people draw a pencil circle there so that you get this round part. And then right here he has that little cup for his chin. His nostrils almost like a teardrop with a Hershey Kiss top on the top. There's a bump here for his other nostril. His eye, it's pretty dark in this picture, but it's flat on this side, flat on this side, and then curved on the bottom. Okay, and then you can see triangles. Here's a triangle that's bent over like a leaf. All right, so what I have here today is I started a pencil drawing. I started videoing with a pencil showing those shapes, but it's far away and you can't see the pencil lines very much. So I got my little bottle of ink and I thought that'll show. This will be fun. So I'll just do the contour lines. That means the outlines of the horse right over my pencil lines. Hey, here we go. And it'll just be funny because it's such a wobbly line when you use ink. Yeah, it's a horse, just like you. You're shaggy and soft. I'm going to start with this line right here. I'm just using the tip. You can't do that during a video. Silly dog. Under there. And I'm just like ballet dancing my... Okay, I just put the dog in. He crawled in to Daddy's office. Let's do that Hershey Kiss. It's like a teardrop with a little Hershey Kiss at the top. Really hard to draw. There's a little bump here. Okay, and then you see his smile. It's kind of like he has that. And it comes around. My wobbly ink brush. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to start here between his ears and come down. And then go ahead and make his ears like flipping up a little bit. Oh, by the way, if you do that, it looks like the ears open, right? Same on this side. I see this shape. Yeah? And then it comes down like this. Okay, let's see what else. His eye is about right here. It has a flat side, and then a round side. Always leave a little white dot inside the eye so it looks like there's some a reflection. What else? I think that bump is on the other side. All right, this is the fun part. He has hair here, so you don't have to do a contour line for his neck. You can just go ahead and put a nice mane. And you know, when you're brushing, you press down on the paper and then let go, right? So that you get those brushy strokes. Let's give him those bangs. Those are so cool. And just some pretty movement. Whee! I love bangs. There we go. Hi, horsey. You got some pretty hair. Goodness gracious, Pearl, this is so fun. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going down with this line here, right? He has a little, all right, his other leg. Oh my goodness, looks like it's getting wider there. Not perfect, but, and then he has a round belly, so you have two legs, and then you're going to come here and kind of come up here. Good. Let's do his leg on the bottom. A little wobbly there. It's slightly wider at the top. He has an elbow sticking out that way, and then it gets thinner. All right, back leg. Oh, we have some flowers that we get to put in front of him. That'll be fun. I'm starting here and make sure his rump is nice and just softly round. Okay, and look, there's some tail showing. Oh my goodness, Pearl, it's so fun. I love hair. I love lots of hair. I love hairdos. So, I mean, I might just keep going with the mane and just get wild, but I just don't be afraid of making awesome hair. Okay, so if you love or hate your horse, don't judge it quickly. Just make more of them. Just make more. Okay, I'm gonna pause this and then go get my, I'm gonna have to put a flower over that bump. Look how it's barely a bump here and he made a giant bump. No problem. I'll just be putting some flowers around there and he's gonna be in this beautiful area. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, more to come. I'm gonna go get my colors. Okay, while you paint your horse, I'll go ahead and share some of the things I raked out of this meekness catalog. It's the horse represents meekness. Now, the horse is not meek-mannered by nature. Wild stallions frequently travel in herds and challenge and fight one another. They're easily spooked. And a horse trainer who gets a wild stud will say, you can tell how long he was wild by the tattooing of scars. You see, whenever there's deep wounds, often they grow white hairs after healing, and you can see all the places that they were knocked down or their ear bitten off or they were just kicked around and made scars. Well, zebras are so intensely afraid they have not been successfully domesticated. Their insecurity causes them to be easily frightened of everything, but not the horse. Wild horses are easily spooked, and they react in fear or in violence when their rights are violated. But through patient training and patient discipline from a strong trainer, the horse's strong will can be channeled productively, so he learns to trust. Peter Jones recommends a trainer talking gently to the horse until it realizes there's no harm in sharing its space with a person. And then the horse is ready to learn that a harness doesn't mean the end of the world anymore. And very patient, progressive steps involving discipline and reward, the horse will realize that yielding his unrestrained independence is actually okay. And then he will have care and provision and benefit when it overcomes its strong will. So meekness is the opposite of anger, and every angry person thinks, well, they have a just reason to be angry. It's right for me to be angry. But our example here is Jackie Robinson. He was born into a culture where white people believed that they were more valuable, more important than people with brown skin. And they mistreated brown-skinned people all the time. It was so cultural. It was had been accepted for so long. And so Jackie Robinson was... he became so meek and powerful, like a well-trained horse. He actually opened up freedom for many, many, many thousands of black people, and even gave freedom to our nation through his example. He was born in 1919 and he died in 1972. He was the very first African American to play on a Major League Baseball team. He was actually inducted into the baseball's Hall of Fame in 1962. Though faced with jeers and abuse and ridicule, Jackie Robinson went on to make baseball history. He lived and played passionately, but held those passions in check when he was mocked by others. He says, "Our weapons will be base hits and stolen bases and swallowed pride. Those'll do the job and get the victory. Nothing else will do it." Well, actually, those were the instructions of Branch Rickey, manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers, when he signed up Jackie Robinson to be the first African American in Major League Baseball. The world was plagued with injustice, like the deep-seated prejudice that for many years violently resisted the presence of African Americans in professional sports. Such wrongs are not resolved overnight. When combating injustice, the strategy that wins the war is often very different from the tactics that would have been employed to win a scuffle. And that's the point Branch Rickey sought to impress firmly on the mind of Jackie Robinson. It's the character quality of meekness. Now, sometimes people think meekness is, it rhymes with weakness, but it is not weak. On the contrary, it's a quality of great personal strength. Meekness is demonstrated by any person whose strength of passion or brawn is mastered by his or her strength of character. It is strength under control. Rickey warned Robinson, "They'll taunt you and goad you. They'll throw things at you. They'll try to make you start a fight. They'll make you so angry you want to punch out their face. But don't you do it. Your restraint on your temper will be the victory we all need." He said, all of that will be aimed at making you want to react and infuriating you so that you will set off a race riot in the ballpark. Then they'll say that it's proof that Negroes shouldn't be allowed in the major leagues. Well, Robinson signed his baseball contract and began one of the most important careers in American sports history. It was everything that Rickey had anticipated. His new infielder was verbally accosted, physically threatened, banned in some towns, and run out of others, but Robinson held his peace and poured out his passion against the baseball. He proved his position not with fists and words, but with base hits, stolen bases, and home runs. He was named in 1947 the Rookie of the Year, and then the most valuable player in the National League with a batting average of .342 that year. Robinson applied his strengths where it counted and restrained his temper. Just like meekness is having the strength of character to avoid being aroused to angry action. Well, there were a couple times where his meekness was leaving those in authority to enforce justice instead of taking justice into our own hands. One time, the Pirates refused to play on the same field with Robinson. So the baseball authorities informed the Pirates they could either choose to play or forfeit the game. Instead of Jackie getting angry and having a fight out with them, he let the authorities solve the problem. And then when the Chicago Cubs players banded together in a pact not to play if Robinson came to their stadium, well, the game officials notified the Cubs that any player who refused to play would be banned from baseball for life. Now, those were actions that Robinson never could have taken himself. They were decisions of authority that they could not have come to his defense in that way if Jackie had been yelling back or threatening or demanding his rights with an ugly attitude. His meekness was extremely powerful, and I believe it was so light, it contrasted with the darkness in the hearts of others and produced change in our culture. So by having meekness and being patient and careful, we leave room for authorities to act where maybe they would have to punish both of us if we both fight back instead of being meek, instead of bringing to light what's wrong in a simple way. Another great part about meekness is how we welcome correction when we're meek. Instinctively, we usually defend ourselves, and especially if we think that whoever is correcting us is also wrong in some way. It's so easy for us to say, well, you're wrong too, or, well, you didn't correct me in the nicest way, or nobody's perfect, but all of those things don't even help us to grow or to become strong through the correction. A meek person accepts the correction when we are found to be wrong, even if the person delivering the correction has faults of their own. So if you want to be meek, the first thing you'll do when you're rebuked is, instead of soaking up the pain of your wounded pride, you just wait, patiently wait, and then consider, is there any truth in the criticism? Just like a magnet. Now, a magnet can go into a big pile of all kinds of stuff and pull out just the metal, leaving all the non-metal things in the pile. In the same way, when you've been given some criticism, consider, is there pieces of metal, little pieces of truth that I can pull out of this and leave all the rest behind? In that way, you can respond to the reproof, not the reprover, and actually become a stronger person and let the correction make you kind of like a wild horse. When they learn to consider and respond meekly to the correction of their trainer, boy, they have an amazing amount of strength and energy that is applied in incredibly productive ways. And they become healthier and stronger. And then don't forget, whenever you're reproved by someone or corrected, thank with honest appreciation whoever brought your attention to that truth that you will benefit from. This is a true heart of meekness. When you think about today in 2020, the culture of prejudice that's being battled in some pretty destructive ways in the news, think about what would happen if people really cultivated a spirit of meekness where we listen to one another and instead of returning anger for anger, had productive conversations and used our actions and attitudes and words to help instead of hurt. We all can be like Jackie Robinson, promoting a beautiful, powerful meekness in our culture and world and making it a better place.